So yesterday was a bit of a bombshell day. I think it kind of caught everyone by surprise. No one was really expecting what we got out of the January update, which probably should have just been called a patch. I don't really know why they were teasing this like this was the second coming of Jesus when they already knew that, well, this patch is just gonna do things that no one really wants. But that leaves the question: can Need for Speed be saved? So I went ahead and left a poll over on my community tab. I've been quite frequently posting there, so if you haven't already checked it out, go check it out. I'll be posting there in the future as well as YouTube stories. Asked you guys, it's only been up for like half an hour, 45 minutes, but you know, the kind of consensus seems pretty general. But like I said, the community action was pretty decisive. A lot of people basically said that this game can be saved, and I do agree with that. I also posted another community thing where it was like, what do you think the next update is going to be? Do you think it's going to be cars? Do you think it's going to be DLC? Do you think it's just going to be nothing? And a lot of people said they wanted more cars. Now, I think the way to save this game is by not adding more cars. If in the next update, all they're going to do is add the S14, which has already been leaked, the Eclipse, which has already been leaked, that is possibly the worst thing they could do in this scenario. Now, we know that they're actually going to be supporting the game through paid car packs and time saver packs, which, you know, they've already said. If they come with paid cars in the next DLC, and that's it, and like, that's their answer to no endgame and stuff, that is going to, I think that will be the last straw for everyone. I don't really think there's any excuse. I keep mentioning Forza in comparisons to Need for Speed because they're doing everything right in comparison. A lot of people say Forza has progression problems. I don't think it does with Forzathon. I don't think it does with, you know, the current progression it has. Yes, the progression is weekly, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Not every game needs to force you to play every day to get the most out of it. Forza is a game that you can hop onto weekly, complete your challenges and hop off, and that's what I use it as. And I've got more playtime out of that than I have Need for Speed, which is a single-player experience as far as I'm concerned. And that's completely different because you can't even inherently compare the two, because Forza is a well-polished game on launch, no bugs. When I set fast lap times, I'm not going to clip into the air. You know, all those types of things. So I don't even think it's a comparison. As a game, Forza is 100 times better than Need for Speed in every single way possible, other than customization and cops. Like, even customization on the performance end, it hasn't got anywhere. Like, Need for Speed doesn't even touch Forza on performance customization and tuning. Like, that's not even a question. Anyone who wants to argue that, you're, like, factually wrong. Like Need for Speed is a buggy mess in comparison to Forza. That's not a fact of opinion. That's a fact of, like, looking at the games, and you can literally see it. I don't really know where I was going with that. I kind of went on a little bit of a tangent. But the answer to saving Need for Speed is not car packs. What it needs in this next update, and I know we keep saying this, and I know I keep trying to, like, instill hope in the community because, well, it's my job to make videos on this game, so of course I want this game to be good. You know, they need PvP in the next update, updating the RSR. They can't have one of these things in the next update. It needs to be a bunch of them. That basically isn't what needs to happen. The big question is, do I think Ghost are capable of doing this with Need for Speed here and going forward? Do I think Ghost are capable of making a good Need for Speed game with no catches? I honestly am starting to think the answer to that question is no, and I kind of touched this on yesterday's video, but I kind of want to delve a little bit deeper into why I think that. It's been 7 years now since Ghost have been making Need for Speed games. Rivals, actually, in comparison to Payback and Heat, had a lot more theme and a lot more character about it. And I don't know for what reason. Maybe vehicle art, design of people changed, or, you know, the art team changed. For whatever reason, whatever, like, Rivals of 2015 had a lot more atmosphere than Payback and Heat, and that's just all I have to say about that. But my point is, and this is kind of stemmed from Tariq, who is a subscriber of mine. We were just having a conversation about the series and what's happened with it. And now EA, a lot of people are blaming EA for what's happened here. I don't think EA are to blame. EA have had the Need for Speed series for longer than Ghost have been alive by a long shot. You know, Black Box have made games, Criterion have made games, and Criterion never made a bad Need for Speed game. I don't like Most Wanted. I'm going to put my hands up and say I don't like that game, but it wasn't broken. It was a full game on launch, etc., etc. Hot Pursuit 2010, whether you liked it or not, it was a well-rounded, balanced game, you know, with more cars, you know, no customization, obviously, but more cars than most Ghost games currently. And it was, yeah, it wasn't broken. It had single player, it had multiplayer, it had everything. It had a photo mode. Black Box, there was definitely a few games here and there that weren't fantastic. Pro Street, Undercover are ones to name, but during their heyday, made some of the best games in the franchise, so they get a pass. Not to mention World, which is still being played to this day by hundreds of people. What have Ghosts done since they have been you know, with EA. And what have they done with Rivals? Was buggy. It was a comprehensive experience in comparison to the other games, but, you know, it was buggy. Very, very buggy. 2015 had the vision of what we want Need for Speed to be in the future, but I personally think Need for Speed 2015 was a fluke. You know, people that worked on that game probably moved on, and then we go on to Payback and Heat, and we already know what the situation is with those games. I don't think EA are to blame in this situation. I think it's easy for people to blame EA because of the practices they've shown in the past, and I don't think people should look at EA in a place where they are the good guys, because that's not the case. They've done shady things in the past, and that should be highlighted. But I also don't think EA are the reason why Need for Speed is failing. I think the reason why Need for Speed is failing is because Ghost can't make a good Need for Speed game, and that's been proven. It's not like it's been 1 or 2 games. It's been 7 years. They've been given an extra year to make Need for Speed game for the past 3 games. So, like, I just don't see the excuse that, you know, EA isn't giving him enough money, EA isn't giving him enough. I don't believe any of that, to be honest. Anyone who's making those claims, that, like, it sounds like you're either a little bit naive to the situation, or you're just trying to blame EA because bad EA and EA are bad, and I don't like EA because they're bad. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that sentiment. I don't think like they are the bad person. And to kind of round off that question of can Need for Speed be saved, I think it can. I think Heat can be saved, but it's going to take a lot of waking up calls from the studio. It's going to take a backlash. Like, I've not seen enough backlash from this. I've seen people defending Ghost saying, oh, EA aren't giving enough money to a small studio. Super Street, the fucking game, had more updates than Need for Speed here at this point, and they are how much smaller than Need for Speed. The Crew had more updates. Like, and I know they had a bigger studio, but that game, if you look at the spiral of decline that series has gone in, it only puts it in perspective how bad this is. Like, I don't think people are realizing how bad this is. If you're complacent with this update, and if you're complacent with the current state of this franchise, then you need to wake up. I don't know what it looks like on a player-based side, but if it's anything like my YouTube analytics, it went like this, and now it's going down, and it's just going down, 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 down. If people were interested, they would be searching up the game. That's how these things work. If the game was good, people would be playing the game and searching up the game. I'm seeing the traffic to the Reddit go down. I'm seeing like, it's not just me, like, it's everywhere. People are getting bored of this game. Like, I'm not just saying it because my channel's dying. I'm saying it because people are actually stopping, like, they're not playing this game anymore. Soon you'll see the game go on sale, like as if it hasn't already gone on sale already. And it's just getting to the point now where if in this next update it's just car packs, it's like they are just giving the middle finger to the community, and I don't think people realize the kind of the grandeur of the situation. This is really, really bad. What this needs, it's basic core features that were previously in Need for Speed 2015 and Payback, etc. And they actually need to go above and beyond and actually stop taking away features and adding them as updates. It feels like FIFA. Like levels of effort that are being put into it, and I'm sure there's people that are working on this game that are like passionate and whatever, but it doesn't feel like people who are working on this game actually know anything about urban car culture and all that stuff. Like, it boggles my mind. It genuinely boggles my mind. I think this game has maybe 1 or 2 more months in its current state before that's it, I think. Unless they really come back with it like a Star Wars Battlefront 2 or a No Man's Sky type situation. I think, yeah, 1 or 2 more months, and if it doesn't get anything meaningful, if it gets an S14 and an Eclipse that are paid, and then it gets like PvP, bare bone stock, nothing, then, you know, if it really is the situation where Max is kind of saying, oh, people have only just got back from holidays and now they're just starting work. I don't know how long your holiday is, but that's ridiculous. And I think that if you are only now starting to work on things after so long, the PvP is going to turn up and it's going to be shit, because you can't make a good fleshed out PvP in a month. That's what happened with the Crew, and look how the Crew turned out. So that's my current situation with it. The next, you know, when they actually add these features that we want, I feel like our expectations are so high because, you know, we are expecting this bare minimum for good reason. You know, Forza, like I said, they added a battle royale mode in the space that Ghost have added wheel support. It's something which was previously in Need for Speed Heat. I don't care if the physics have changed. That's not a good excuse. Like, it can't be that hard to rehash in wheel support. Anyone that's making, any influencers that are making excuses for Ghost right now, ridiculous. No ifs, ands and buts. Like, this is awful. This is tragic. Like, there's no downplaying the situation. Anyone that downplays the situation here, They're pandering to an audience. This is something which I can't blow out of proportion even more, and I want to make sure that everyone is aware that this is a shit show and this game is on fire. 2 ramble videos in a row, like, give me a break, boys. The game is quite literally on fire. Like, I just had to make a video today after my thoughts have kind of leveled out a bit and just give a bit more insight on what I feel like the situation's like. You have a reason to be annoyed. Don't be a dickhead and don't start harassing Max. I think Max has done a few things that are questionable. I think the whole overhyping of this article, like it's the next second coming of Jesus, like this tweet and this tweet, if you knew it was gonna be, you know, just bug fixes and steering wheel support, I don't think it was a good idea to make these tweets. I think it would have been a good idea to just maybe say it's not going to be a big brace yourselves, basically. And that's something he'll understand as being a community manager and, you know, being new to the things. I'm not blaming Max for that, but I just think those are things that maybe he was a little bit too naive to, and maybe things in the future that he'll learn from. He won't ever do that again, because he's basically set people's expectations really high just for them to go down. But I'm not going to blame Max for this. Max has openly said that there's some things he can't say. You know, obviously there's some things he can't say. He's the community manager for a, you know, multi-million-dollar company being EA. So of course, like, I don't expect that from him. And he's completely new to this job. So again, I don't give the blame to Max. Like, that's not nice. But be constructive. Like in my last video, I showed this list of things that Forza had since launch and Need for Speed 2015 had since launch. Be constructive with your feedback. That makes sense. And you need to make noise. And I think the best way to make noise, honestly, is to not support their game financially. It's hard for me to do that because it's my job to make videos on this game, and I guess in that way a voice for the community in that regard, that we do need to raise our voice and say we are not happy with our wallets. When this S14 and Eclipse come out, which they inevitably will, don't buy them. You know, if you want to support like this idea that Need for Speed isn't doing well, don't support the game. Like, I'm gonna make videos on this game quite hypocritically because it's my job to do so. But the hundreds of thousands of people that watch YouTube videos, like, don't do it. That's like, if I wasn't a YouTube content creator and if I didn't depend on this for my livelihood, then I wouldn't. Like, I genuinely wouldn't. That's like literally all I have to say. That's why I've gone back to old games. Like, don't support a game that clearly the developers don't have a clue what they're doing with it. You know, like, everyone thought Speed Hunters, oh, they're coming back, oh, sick. You know, what? I don't see any Speed Hunters influence in this game whatsoever, just other than the name being used. I don't see anything here that even remotely resembles Speed Hunters. Anyway, that's all I have to say. I feel like I'm rambling and I'm just getting down and I'm feeling really shit about myself. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please raise this sentiment. Don't just start being angry, fuck you guys. Like, actually be comprehensive and explain your thoughts. And there's so much behind this that I could probably make a full-on hour-long rant on this, but I'm not gonna. Share the word round, make sure people know how bad this is. I'll see you guys in the next one. You guys have an awesome day. Safe.